In the previous class, we were discussing Schmidt trigger. Okay, right? In the previous class, we were discussing Schmidt trigger. So, circuit very easy. Slight modification for your right bistable multivibrator. Okay, and this is the circuit diagram we have already discussed in the previous class. Okay, now what happens when we connect this circuit? Switch on VCC without the input, okay, without giving any input. What happens here is now VCC, okay, is connected to this transistor Q2, right? And no negative voltage is connected to Q2. Hence, what happens here is Q2 will, okay, remain in the on condition because NPN transistor. So NPN, P side, towards the P, okay, region, a positive voltage is connected. Hence, the transistor Q2 will be on. Okay, and here I said we are considering the case where we did not give any input, right? Nothing is given to the base of the transistor Q1, whereas emitter of Q1 has some voltage. Okay, because just now we discussed Q1 is on, so there will be current flow in this path, and because of that current flow, a voltage will be generated. Okay, there will be a positive voltage here. The positive voltage here is connected to the emitter, right? NPN transistor. So positive voltage connected to N region, right? So the transistor Q1 will be off. Okay. So the initial state, when we do not give any input, the default state is Q1 will Q2 will be on because a positive voltage is connected to base, okay, which is P region, and Q1 will be off because a positive voltage is connected at N region, NPN transistor, okay. So positive voltage at N region. So the default states of the transistors are Q2 is on, Q1 is off. Now, okay, we are considering this is the circuit, okay, the default state Q2, okay, on and Q1 off, Q2 on and then Q1 off, right? So what happens at this condition? Now, because this Q2 is on, there will be a current flow, okay, in this path. Why we are discussing this path? Because always in our electronic circuits, we are interested in what is the output, okay. So here we can see that the output voltage is in this path, okay. And how can we calculate this output voltage? See, VCC, after some loss here, we are getting V0. Means V0 will be VCC minus this, okay, voltage. And this voltage is simply nothing but using Ohm's law, current into resistance. Current here IC2, resistance is RC2. So the voltage here will be IC2 into RC2. Okay, this is IC2. Okay, current through the collector of second transistor, we will call it IC2. So the resistor is RC2. The voltage drop here will be simply IC2 into RC2. Okay. So what will be V0? V0 will be VCC minus IC2 into RC2. V0 will be VCC minus IC2 into RC2. Okay. This is printed wrong here. So V0 is VCC minus IC2 into RC2. This is RC2. Okay. Now here, okay, we have discussed that the output is this expression. Okay. Now, see, it is like this. Either the transistor throughout whatever we have been discussing for the past few classes, either the transistor is on or the transistor is off. Okay. When Q2 is on, we got V0 is this, right? So either V0 is this value or, okay, the next case we have to consider V0 when Q2 is off. Anyway, what happens if Q2 is off? Let us discuss that also. In this circuit, if Q2 is off, okay, when Q2 becomes off, then what happens? Off means it doesn't conduct any current. The current in this path will be 0. Okay. So when current is 0, voltage will be 0, right? So V0, there won't be any loss here because no current, no voltage drop. V0 will be simply VCC. Okay. So what I am trying to say here is the output will toggle between VCC and VCC minus IC2 R2. Okay. Then next what we will consider is we will consider the DC condition. Okay, the DC condition. DC condition means for the case when the input voltage we have not given any input voltage. Okay, we have already, right, we have already discussed that in such a case. Okay, in such a case we have already discussed the condition when input voltage is, when the input voltage is 0. Okay, the conditions we have discussed here, and as per those conditions, okay, as per those conditions we have seen that initially the Q1 is off and then Q2 is, okay, Q1 is off and Q2 is on, and then based on that we are having the expression for output voltage VCC minus IC2 into R2. Okay. Now, when this, okay, see now it is like this. Initial condition Q2, okay, is Q2 is on, Q1 is off. Okay. Q2 is on, Q1 is off. Now, tell me, see, we have discussed so many times multivibrators. Okay. When will Q1 become on? When the input voltage becomes what, the Q1 will turn on. See, we have already taken the initial case, by default Q1 off, and then the Q2 on. We have discussed that. Now we are discussing what happens, or when will Q1 become on? Anybody? When Vi is increasing, or when Vi increases or decreases, which case Q1 will turn on? Very basic question. Please answer. Easy
Vi
question.
increases.
Very good. Okay. When Vi increases, only the Q1 will turn on. But to what value Vi should increase? Should it increase? See, the voltage at emitter is, we are calling VE. Should it increase greater than VE? Yes or no? Should Vi increase above VE? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. By what amount? See, ultimately what we have here, is there is a NPN transistor, isn't it? So there is a PN junction. Okay. PN junction has cut-in voltage, right? So only when this Vi becomes greater than VE by an amount equal to the cut-in voltage of this base emitter diode, then only the transistor will turn on. Okay, this cut-in voltage of this diode is also called as VBE SAT. Okay, VBE SAT, right? And its usual value is 0.7, 0.8. Okay, we will represent that by V gamma. So only when VI is greater than V gamma plus VE, only when, okay, only when the VI becomes, okay, here VI, only when the VI becomes greater than, only when the VI becomes greater than this base to emitter voltage plus VE, okay, then only the transistor Q1 will turn on. So the condition is the voltage here is the voltage across the base emitter junction. Let us call it as VBE1. Okay, let us call it as VBE1. In derivation, we will call it as V gamma 1. Okay, anyway, no problem. Now we will call it as VBE1. So only when Vi is greater than VBE1 plus VE, the transistor Q1 will turn on. Or input, if we give sinusoidal signal, when this input Vi reaches VBE1, why 1? Because transistor Q1. Only when Vi reaches VBE1 plus VE, then only the transistor Q1 will turn on. Okay. So only when Vi reaches VBE1 plus VE, the Q1 will turn on. Okay, right? So that point is called as upper threshold. Input, if we give a sinusoidal signal, only when the input exceeds this a value, only when the input exceeds a value, what is that value? VBE1 plus VE, then only the Q1 will turn on. Okay, and we know very well that when Q1 turns on, when Q1 becomes on, okay, when Q1 becomes on, then what happens? The voltage here reduces. Okay, the voltage here reduces. Actually, what happens here is when Q1 is on, heavy current will flow through RC1. Okay, so the drop here will be more, right? VCC minus this drop is the voltage here, isn't it? Okay, so because of that, the voltage here reduces. The voltage here, when the voltage here reduces, the transistor will become, okay, Q2 will become off. So it is like this. When Q1 will become on, when Vi is greater than VBE1 plus VE, Q1 will become on. When Q1 becomes on, Q2 becomes off. When Q1 becomes on, Q2 becomes off. No current. No current means no drop across. See, Q2 off means there won't be any current here. No current in this path means no voltage drop here. Voltage drop Ohm's law is current into resistance. Okay. So when this Q2 is off, no current here, no current here means no voltage drop, no voltage drop. There is no drop means the voltage here and here are the same. V0 becomes VCC. Okay, simple. When we give, okay, again I am repeating, listen very carefully. Initially when we switch on, okay, Q2 will be on because there is a positive voltage connected, whereas Q1 will be off when we don't give any input, right? Now when we give sinusoidal input, when the input raises above a particular point called upper threshold point, which happens to be VBE1 plus VE, where VBE1 you can call it as the cut-in voltage of the base emitter junction, or you can call it as the saturation voltage. Okay. So when that happens, then the transistor will turn on. When Q1 turns on, the current will be more. The current through RC1 will be high, and because of that high current, the VCC that we connect here, there will be large drop. Large drop means, okay, suppose you have 100 rupees, large drop means you lost 90 rupees. You have only less money. Okay, you have only 10 rupees. So when the input goes above that upper threshold point, there will be large current here. So large voltage drop across RC1. Okay, so a very small voltage will appear at the collector of first transistor here. So because the voltage here is low, that will turn Q2. Okay, that will turn Q2 off. Q2 off means the current through this path, current through RC2, ideally 0, practically negligible. Negligible current means negligible voltage drop across RC2. Okay, so negligible voltage drop across RC2 means V0 becomes nearly equal to VCC. Okay, so what happens when we give trigger? V0 becomes equal to VCC. What happens when we give trigger? Okay, V0 becomes equal to VCC, and when the trigger, okay, when we get that trigger, when the input crosses the upper threshold point, when the input crosses the upper threshold point, okay, which is this one, then Q1 will become on, Q2 will become off, so output will become VCC, right? Output will become VCC. What is the initial state of the output? That also we already discussed. Initially, V0 was VCC minus IC2R2. We discussed this, isn't it? Initially, Q2 is on. So Q2 is on. There will be current flow. So V0 will be IC2 VCC minus IC2R2. So V0 will toggle between these two voltages. One is VCC and other is VCC minus IC2RC2. Okay. So V0 will toggle between VCC and VCC minus IC2RC2. Okay. So far we discussed about how to turn on Q1. Now again, when Q2 becomes off, that is what we are going to discuss next. Now here Q1 is on. Okay. Obviously, when this input voltage, okay, again we have already discussed. Now tell me, for Q1 to turn off, when does that happen? When Vi is increasing or decreasing? Please answer.
Decrease.
Very good. Okay, only when Vi reduces, the Q1. Okay, see, very interesting. This is like switch, control switch. You can do magic with transistors. You know, all your laptops, all your mobile phones, calculators, just by using the switch. Okay, just by giving a signal to the transistor and switching it, we are getting all this unimaginable, okay, operations, right? Even your LED TVs, right? All the technological advancements. So just by small components, if you can use those small components properly, you can definitely, okay, make bigger inventions. Okay, anyway, so now here, as your friend has rightly said, see, so far we are, when we gradually increased input, when the input crossed upward threshold point, the output changed from low to high. Now we are here. Okay. So what is happening here? Input increasing and then input gradually reduces, right? Sinusoidal signal waveform. So when the input reaches peak, anyway, still the transistor is on. So we are maintaining the constant. Now, when the input increases and then starts to reduce, at one point Q1 will turn off. That point is called as lower threshold point. Okay, that point where this particular Q1 turns off is called as lower threshold point. Okay, now here, see, actually, when Q1 is on, the current flows in this path, VCC, RC1, okay, then transistor, then RE. When Q2 is on, okay, when Q2 is on, the current flow happens in this path, VCC, RC2, VCE, and then the RE. So what happens is, because the paths are different, the voltage, okay, VE, the voltage at this point, the voltage at the emitter of the transistor will not be the same. It will change based on condition. And that is the reason the upper threshold point and lower threshold point are not equal. Okay, right? And that is the reason we are not just taking this as VE. One case we are taking it as VE, another case we are taking it as VE dash. Okay, another case we are taking it as VE dash, right? And because of that, we are able to achieve, okay, this particular sine to square wave conversion. Okay, sine to square wave conversion. Okay, then that was about this Schmitt trigger circuit. Now here, if you draw the characteristics or if you plot the relation between the input voltage and output voltage, what happens here is, see, input voltage, let us say it is increasing. We are increasing the input voltage. Okay, at one point, the output changes from low to high. Okay, and then the input, when it reduces, okay, when the input reduces, even though the input has reached upper threshold point, switching doesn't happen here. Only when the input reaches lower threshold point, the switching happens. Okay, the circuit is designed in that manner. So what happens because of that is, there is a hysteresis in the input. Okay, we have an hysteresis in the plot between the input voltage and the output voltage. Okay, see, when input, this is x-axis input, when input gradually rises, okay, only when the input crosses upper threshold point, the output will rise from VCC minus IC2 RC2 to VCC. Okay, output will jump from here to here. Now, even though if you increase the input, okay, even though if you change the input, still the output doesn't change. The output changes only when you reduce the input below the lower threshold point. Okay, right? So now here in this band, in this range of input voltages, even if input changes, whatever state the output is, the output remains. Hence, this is called as dead band. It is called as dead band. Okay, so very important, the Schmitt trigger, it exhibits, okay, it exhibits the what do you say, hysteresis characteristics. Okay, next, let us discuss what is the expression for the upper threshold, okay, point, and then the lower threshold point. Fine. Now, before we go for the discussion of this particular derivation, let us quickly see when do we have the upper, okay, when do we need to consider the upper threshold point. Here, what is the upper threshold okay doing? It is turning Q1 from off to on. Okay, when the input voltage reaches upper threshold point, Q1 is turning from off to on. Okay, that is the reason when we go for the derivation of the upper threshold point, okay, we consider the case Q1 off, Q2 on. Okay, because how to find upper threshold point? We are starting, okay, only when, so what is this upper threshold point doing? It is turning Q1 from off to on. So we have to start our analysis with the condition what happens when Q1 is off. Okay, what happens when the Q1 is off? Now, when Q1 is off, obviously we know Q2 is on, right? We have discussed the functionality of the circuit. So we are again going back to the circuit where Q1 is off and Q2 is on. This is our circuit. We have to now consider this circuit. I repeat, U2P, okay, upper threshold point, it turns Q1, it changes the state of Q1 from off to on. Okay, so that is the reason we are considering this case when Q1 is off and then Q2 is on. Now here what happens is, let us first find an equivalent circuit for this particular circuit. Okay, Thevenin's theorem, have you studied, students? Thevenin's theorem, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So what it says is, you can replace a part of a network with its Thevenin's equivalent voltage in series with a Thevenin's resistance. Okay, so what we will do is, we will find the equivalent Thevenin's voltage at this point, base of the, okay, transistor Q2, and then the equivalent resistance appearing at the base of the transistor Q2. We are going to find that. So what will be the equivalent voltage here? Now, because Q1 is off, the current will flow in this path. Okay, so what happens here? The voltage here will be, okay, simply this current multiplied by the resistance R2. Fine. So what will be the voltage at base of the second transistor? First of all, what will be the total current? Total current will be nearly equal to VCC by RC1, okay, plus R1 plus R2. So the voltage here, okay, the voltage at this point will be the, okay, R2 into the current. So R2 into VCC by RC1 plus R1 plus R2. So the voltage at the base of second transistor, the voltage at the base of second transistor will be VCC R2 by RC1 plus R1 plus R2. That will be the Thevenin's voltage. Next, what will be the Thevenin's resistance? What will be the Thevenin's resistance? The condition for finding Thevenin's resistance is whenever you have source, you have to replace it with 0 or ground. Okay. So what do we have? We have this particular R2, and then in this junction we have R1, RC1. R1 plus RC1, they are in series. So R1 plus RC1 in parallel with R2. So R1 plus RC1 into R2 by RC1 plus R1 plus R2. So that will be the, okay, R1 plus RC1 into R2 by RC1 plus R1 plus R2. That will be the Thevenin's resistance. Anyway, very simple Thevenin's voltage and Thevenin's resistance. We are finding same old techniques we are using, okay, and we are finding this. Now we will analyze this circuit, okay. If you apply KVL to the base of Q2, okay, if we apply KVL here, let us consider leaving terminal. KVL means we are starting from here, going in anti-clockwise direction, and then coming back here. So first leaving terminal, so minus VBE2, and then again leaving terminal. Voltage is current into resistance. So first of all here, what will be the current? This current is IB2. The current here is IC2. We know IC is equal to HFE into IB. Okay, right, in EDC. I hope you remember. IC is equal to HFE. IC is equal to HFE IB, or IC is equal to beta IB. Anyway, so this is HFE IB, right? This is HFE IB2. This is IB2. So the current here will be HFE IB2 plus IB2. IB2 we can take common. So IB2 into 1 plus HFE will be the current here. Okay. So again applying KVL, we have minus VBE2 minus 1 plus HFE into IB2. Okay, because negative terminal, and then leaving plus VTH, and then again leaving. So minus IB2 into RTH, minus IB2 into RTH is equal to 0. Okay. So we started from here, came back. KVL, sum of the voltages is equal to 0. Now let us find what is IB2. See, actually what we are trying to do, only when UTP becomes greater than VBE1 plus VEN, okay, this voltage, then only the transistor turns on, right? So we need to find what is this voltage. Okay, that is what we are doing now. So here IB2, how to get IB2? Other than IB terms, send to the other side. What are the other terms? One is VTH, okay, another is VBE2, and then we take IB2 common in the remaining two IB2 terms. One IB2 term, other IB2 term. Take the IB2 common, and whatever is the coefficient of IB2, okay, you send it to the other side. Simple school level mathematics, we get IB2 as this one. Okay. Now here, see, we are calling this as VEN2 because it is at the emitter, right? And we are considering the case when Q2 is on, the Q2 second transistor is on. That is why we are calling this voltage as VEN2, 2 because Q2 is on. Okay, anyway, so here we got the expression for IB2. We got the expression for IB2, right? Here VEN2 is simply 1 plus HFE into IB2 plus RE. So the IB2 bring and put it here. We get this expression. Okay. Now very easy. UTP is simply VE N2 plus VBE1. In derivation, they are calling it as V gamma 1. Okay, where V gamma 1 is the cut-in voltage of the transistor Q1. Okay, or VBE sat of transistor Q1, right? So we got VEN2. How did we get VEN2? What was the process we did? First, we applied Thevenin's theorem. Okay, and then after applying the Thevenin's theorem, we simply wrote KVL here. And once we wrote KVL, we got IB2. From the KVL equation, we are extracting IB2. VEN2 is nothing but 1 plus HFE IB2 into RE. So that IB2 we are substituting here. VEN2 we got, the voltage here we got. Upper threshold point is nothing but VBE1 plus VEN2, or VBE1, we are calling it as V gamma. Okay, so V gamma 1 plus VEN2, V gamma 1 plus VEN2, right? So this is the upper threshold point. Lower threshold point, similar derivation. Okay, take it as homework, right? This is the derivation. You please try it by yourself, right? This is the derivation for the lower threshold point. Okay, we will continue in the next class. Thank you.